I got one question for you tonight. Why do you want your ex back? Hey folks, Jim Miller here, helping you find and keep the love of your life and write a better love story. Uh, if you're new to the channel, I'd ask you to go ahead and subscribe. Button's right over here. Tick the bell icon when you get there. That way you're notified of when I upload new videos, and give me a thumbs up if you like the content. Also, I'd ask you to share the video if there's somebody you know maybe could benefit from it. So let's dive into the content. And this question comes actually not from an email. It comes from a question that I asked an email subscriber. A lady who's 37 years old. She was in a 6-year relationship that ended several months ago. They went through a period of no contact. They've recently been in touch. He left her. They've recently been back in touch, and he's kind of showing an interest in maybe working his way back in there. And they've spent a little time together. Nothing major, but they have spent some time together, and they are talking almost on a daily basis. And it looks like maybe this can go back in there. But she wrote to me saying it looks like this can happen, but I'm not sure that this is where I want to go. And the question is, why do you want your ex back? Do you want your ex back because you're truly in love with them and you really feel like you have more of a story to tell with them? Do you want your ex back because you truly see a future with this person and you want to build a future with this person? They want to build a future with you. You think that's a possibility. Or do you want them back just because you're miserable and lonely sitting around the house by yourself and you want the pain to go away? So let's take those one at a time. First of all, do you really love this person? You think there's more of a story to tell? Well, I've said it before in some other videos. Love is not enough to keep a relationship alive. You can love someone and not be able to live with them. You can love someone and really not have that much in common with them and not really be able to make a relationship work. Another thing to take into factor here is, the amount of relationships are different. How long you've been together could have something to do with it. I mean, if you've been together for 2 or 3 months, you really probably haven't been together long enough to develop those deep loving feelings as someone who's been together 7 years or 10 years or 12 years or 15 years or whatever. You also haven't been around long enough to develop some of those deep-seated resentments that a lot of us have in these long-term relationships. Those problems that come up there that we kind of overlook often. So it's important to know that love alone will not keep a relationship together, and there may be more of a story that needs to be written there. You really believe that can happen, and if you and your ex have both worked on yourselves and you believe this is something you both want to do, then I say go for it. Do you honestly see a future? And the question is it a future you want? If there's truly a future that you see there, and it's a future you want, what do I mean by that? Well, what if you are giving and giving and giving to this relationship, and the other person not necessarily taking, but they're not putting the effort back in for one reason or another? And maybe the future is, this fantasy future is like, well, down the road, in a week from now, that when this isn't a problem, or a month from now, or once we move in together, or once this event happens, or once that event happens, or once the kids are out of the house, or whatever. If it's contingent upon some fantasy, is this a fantasy or is it a future? Do you really see a future? If you're taking steps towards building a future, if that's what you want to do, that's one thing. But if you're just kind of hoping that one day down the road this shit's going to solve itself, that's probably not a good way to go. And you need to make sure that your needs would get met in this future. It's one thing to being in a one-sided relationship. If you're doing all the work and they aren't doing the work yet, maybe your need is to serve or is to give to this relationship. And if your needs are being met, that's fine. But if you're holding off for your needs that are going to get met, and this is the thing, when I was talking with this lady, or emailing back and forth with this lady, and she was kind of telling me, give me a little history of the relationship and kind of where it was. I'm not seeing a lot to go back to there. I'm not seeing her needs getting met in all this. His needs seem to get met, but her needs don't seem to get met in this scenario that she was describing. And I just think that, both people have to have their needs met, and if they don't, relationship's not going to work. It's not going to last. And the last thing I asked is, or are you just miserable? You're just lonely and sad, and you want that to go away? Well, bringing your ex back into your life might make that sadness and that loneliness go away, but whatever reason broke you up to begin with is probably still there if neither one of you has really done the work, really rolled up your sleeves and done the work on yourself to build yourself back into a better version of yourself. To look at the problems of the relationship, to work on building passion. I talked about that yesterday. Problems are going to be there. You can work on the problems if you have the passion, but if you don't have the passion, the problems are just going to kick your ass. If you're just miserable and you just want the pain to go away, and your ex is comfortable, your ex is familiar to you, that might give you a little bit of relief, but it's just not going to last because you're going to be waiting. When's this going to end again? When is it going to end again? If that's your only motivation for getting back together is I'm miserable, I want somebody in my life, and I might as well take them. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror, folks. Sometimes you have to look in the mirror, and it's not easy to do. And you have to say, what am I really holding on to? And if you look at it honestly, sometimes you realize there's not much. There's a thread that you're hanging from. And that's it. And you have to look at it honestly. You have to take a sober look at this and say, you know what? It's going to hurt. It's going to suck for a while, but that's going to end. The pain is going to end at some point, and there's going to be a day when I'm going to feel better about this, and that's what you have to work towards. So ask yourself that question. Grab a piece of paper and a pen and draw a line down. We've done this before, pros and cons. And really look at this thing honestly and see what you're holding on to. If there's something there that's worth holding on to, by all means hold on to it, and try and make it work. But if you realize that it's just, there's way too many things in the con column than in the pro, ask yourself that question. What are you holding on to? Is it worth holding on to? No one can tell you what to do, although, again, everybody's going to try. Your friends and family, they're going to tell you exactly what to do, but they can't really tell you what to do. You have to make that up yourself. You have to think with your heart, and you have to think with your head. You have to look at that thing realistically and see what you got. If you got something, hey, by all means, go for it. Anyway, folks, leave a comment in the section down below. There's something you want me to talk about. You have a question, I'd appreciate you leaving it down there. Check the description. I got a couple of free ebooks that I'm giving away in there. 7 simple steps to get your ex back. Won't answer all your questions, but it'll kind of help you start down the path of some things that you need to do to develop yourself a little. And the desire principles, that's kind of more for women when men start to pull away. Also, a couple of X-Back programs down there. One of them, my number one X-Back program right now is Brad Browning's X Factor Guide. I keep promising to do a review. I promise I will. There's a link down there, but there's another one that I've been looking at here recently. It's called The Magic of Making Up. There's a program. There's a link down there. Click on it. Just check out the video. See what you think, and take a look at that. Also, my email address is in the contact or in the description. If you don't want to leave a public comment, you have a relationship question, by all means, please send me an email. Love to get your questions. Help you if I can. Generally, try to respond to any comments and to any emails within 24 hours. So I've had, I've picked up a lot of good context there. Not context, but a lot of good questions come across there. And I'm always glad if I can help. I mean, if one person can walk through this and feel better about their relationship, getting their ex back or whatnot like that, then I've accomplished what I set out to do. Again, folks, if you feel I'm giving you value, I'd ask you to subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Till next time, Jim Miller, helping you find and keep the love of your life, and hoping you can write a better love story. Thanks.